Brian Michael Bendis, Ram V, Phil Hester and Sumit Kumar begin to wrap up their adventures as the League battle the Royal Flush Gang among other multiversal threats, while Khalid Nasser readies to face his toughest challenge yet as the owner of the Helmet of Fate. Brian Michael Bendis begins to wrap up his Royal Flush Gang story by fully tipping his hand this issue, revealing the true score for the thieves and how the Fortress of Solitude figured into their caper. I think it was rather refreshing that the League were just fighting villains who weren't hellbent on ruling the world or killing the multiverse or anything like that. They just wanted one final big score, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that they're just fighting basic criminals. That's really interesting and totally refreshing. Of course, thanks to the team unknowingly opening portals in the fortress when taking it, we get a little bit of multiversal action, and I love that it was just background action and something that is just referred to happen off pages between the issues. I think that's really quite interesting and a lot of fun that when writers do that sort of stuff, because of course it's like the animated series. They would go on adventures between episodes that we never even saw. I think that's really quite cool. The ending of the story with the team coming together thanks to Oliver Queen shouldering a lot of the burden in keeping the Hall of Justice running and everything was great, and it felt quite earned and kind of went back to the whole thing of him or a human being the one who should be in charge of checks and balances for a team of super gods, and that's quite interesting, and I'm glad that that was brought back from the beginning of Brian's run. Ram V meanwhile wraps up Justice League Dark's backup for now with a fantastic character-focused epilogue to his story told through Khalid Nasser's eyes, and him shouldering the immense weight of what's to come, as well as the immense weight of the Helmet of Fate, being that he knows the future, and despite him knowing that and not telling the team about what's to come, he knows the team would back him up in a second, even against immense odds like he is against. It was a brilliant choice to have each page dedicated to a member of the team and lay it all down regarding where they are at, as Ram continues to hint at the future we saw in Future State with Merlin and all magic kind of dying off and all that sort of stuff. So I'm intrigued to see where this goes and if it connects up to what Joshua Williamson is doing with Infinite Frontier, since these stories seem to be coming really close together in what they're trying to tell. Phil Hester and Sumit Kumar continue to hit it out of the park with their fantastic artwork. Phil got to flex his character muscles this issue with some fantastic double page spreads filled to the brim with all sorts of heroes and villains from across the multiverse, making it a real treat for your eyes and sort of a guess who's on which page sort of thing. It was just so much fun. Meanwhile, Sumit had a more focused, character-driven art style this issue, utilizing each page to hone in on a certain character and playing to their styles, such as covering the page in fire and bright reds with Etrigan, or having it quite toned down and grey smoky haze to John Constantine's pages. It was all really fantastic. Justice League issue 71 was another fantastic adventure-filled issue that wrapped up Justice League Dark's storyline really nicely with a promise of more later on, while the Justice League begin heading towards an action-filled ending with the Royal Flush Gang. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Justice League issue 71 finds a beaten King of Spades rushing through the Fortress of Solitude, knowing that the Royal Flush Gang doesn't work and none of them have the guts to effect some real change like he does. Suddenly Superman appears behind him, scaring the villain, who apologizes for what he did. Superman explains that this fortress is his inheritance, as King doesn't remember what really happened. Superman is surprised he doesn't remember he created an elaborate ruse to steal his fortress and accidentally opened all extra dimensional portals at the same time. King thinks that he must have blacked out from the panic he felt, as Superman tells him that he's lucky he didn't turn the world inside out, revealing that he and the world's heroes fought against the threats from Earth 3, from Hell, and from the deep cosmos before managing to close the doors. The rest of the League arrive, telling King that no one died today, as the villain apologizes, knowing that it wasn't personal. Superman wants to know if it was worth it, but the villain says that he's not going to love the answer and they were going to give the fortress back once they were done. Earlier, the team look over their real prize, a giant space rock. King knows that it's more than that, since it's filled with special metals and ores and minerals worth more than everything on Earth combined, and the meteor is just about to pass Earth any day now, and with some alien tech from the fortress, they can pull it towards Earth without even going to space, and not just that, they can also shrink it down and steal it. The team like the idea, but King reminds him that he's just talking about a plan. They still have a lot of work ahead of them to ensure that they can pull that plan off. In the present, Black Adam takes King away, knowing that it it was lucky that it wasn't his stuff he touched. Naomi meets with Superman, thanking him for his incredible display of patience with the villains. Superman thanks her in return, knowing that he might need some help in putting the fortress back in the Bermuda Triangle. Naomi thinks that being on the League involves a lot more chores than she imagined, as Superman says that's his favourite part about being on the League. Kelex soon returns to working condition, so Superman tells him to turn on the lights as the rest of the League round up the Royal Flush Gang. King signals the team and Superman tells them not to, but the villains power up, confronting the Justice League, but Canary knows that even the Legion of Doom know when it's over. The League quickly dispatch the villains, sealing them in stasis prisons, as later at the Hall of Justice, Checkmate gather to discuss the final fate of Damon Rose. The team want to invite him onto their ranks, but Oliver knows that the guy literally appeared out of nowhere pointing a gun at him. Manhunter knows that they need him thanks to his immense skills as a spy, and the rest of the team agrees, so Oliver throws his quiver at Damon, asking if he's looking for a purpose. Rose knows that thanks to Leviathan breaking the world open, there are dangerous people plotting and planning, and today was a close call even for Superman, who managed to have a fight on his hands. Oliver knows that the man didn't answer his question, so Rose tells him that he wants to stop the New World Order who killed his father, so Oliver welcomes him to Checkmate, wanting him to be the one who tells Lois. Damon leaves the hall as Oliver is met by the rest of the League, who want to talk to him about the recent moves he's been making with his money by funding the hall and Checkmate all at once. Batman says that they just wanted to thank him, making Oliver relieved since he thought this was some sort of intervention for overstepping. Flash knows that while most of them came to the conclusion that while their lives are in chaos, Oliver did everything that he could to make everything else run smoothly for them, and no one asked him to do that, but he did it anyway. Canary knows that she is sorry about giving him a hard time about it, as the others say that they didn't even realize what a nice person Oliver really is. Oliver wonders what about all of their talk about one rich person lording over everyone, so Adam says that they will be watching him closely, and if he ever puts his own interests above others, a lightning bolt will be the last thing he ever sees. Batman tries to calm Black Adam down, but he won't be stopped, telling Bruce that he was invited onto this team so they will hear him out, knowing that he has lived a long time and seen very many good men like Oliver thrust into positions of power that ends up corrupting them. Hippolyta has seen it as well, and Oliver knows that most of them have, and it's part of why he's having a hard time trusting anyone else to help them. Oliver knows that Adam is right and appreciates it, feeling better now that there is going to be checks and balances, thanking the team one final time. Mr. Bones takes his leave, knowing he's got a life to live, but Oliver needs to talk with Checkmate about the fake Deathstrokes, showing they hinted at a Leviathan stronghold and there are some ghost cells out there that they need to take seriously. Batman knows that the Royal Flush Gang was right about one thing: there is a very large disgruntled spy world out there that can be manipulated now that they have no causes, wondering what Oliver has in mind to prevent that from happening. In the Tower of Fate, Khalid Nasser writes a letter to Kent Nelson, finding it strange writing to a man who is long gone, but he knows these are strange times. He remembers Kent's words about how the helm would show him wonders, but also become a prison for him. He tells Kent that the helm stays silent most days now, and when he does try to hear Nabu, he hears a different voice, a voice that screams at him with visions of the future, and each time it exacts a cost on him, as if it blinds him. Khalid has begun to understand what Kent was trying to tell him though, and he has begun to worry, knowing all about the calamity that comes for them, and he has lied to his friends to give them a chance at weathering the storm. He remembers telling Ragman that he understood his fear, since Rory worries that the Rag's hunger for souls drives his actions rather than his own motives. He remembers telling Rory that when the time comes, he will act since he knows what to do and what the right thing is to do. Zatanna Mimo meets with Rory, thanking him for his help, but Rory knows he lost control, and had it not been for her, there was no telling what he would have done. He hugs Zatanna, telling her that he had her back and always will. Khalid finds himself worried about Zatanna since she has been through a lot more than all of them. He knows what it's like to feel untethered and set adrift with a great weight on them. Khalid is aware that Zatanna thinks that she isn't ready to lead and that she is all alone in this, and he worries that she is right since leading is always a lonely position, but he told her that she is one beacon of hope and they are all gathered around her in the darkest hours. John meets with Zatanna, wanting to know why she didn't ask him for help with the Upside Down Man since he could have helped, and Zatanna knows he did try and help, and in doing so, he pretended to be her dead father and manipulate her. She knows that whatever they had between them could not survive knowing her secrets. Khalid thinks of Elnara not knowing much about the night, and while he doesn't understand her role in all of this yet, he knows her fate is still intertwined with Merlin's. He remembers entrusting her with the child Merlin's soul and hopes that she can redeem the child, with the knight swearing that she will not fail fate, even if she must search all eternity. For Jason Blood and Etrigan, Khalid warned them that Merlin will come for Jason and make him a tempting offer to free him from Etrigan, but Jason knows that he wouldn't do anything to betray fate's confidence. Etrigan meanwhile was told by Khalid that time is not a line but a circle, depending on how you look at it. Etrigan doesn't know what that means, finding a sense of unease in himself and feeling of deja vu. Khalid soon sought out John Constantine, whom he worried about speaking to since it's better he did not know about the future, but still fate tried to tell him. However, John says he doesn't want to know the future, knowing that it would be foolish to do so and he doesn't want that weight upon him. Lighting a cigarette, he remembers Khalid should know by now that he is one nasty piece of work. Lastly, Khalid meets with Detective Chimp, knowing that he was looking for counsel more than anything else since Bobo was the one who gave him courage when all of them were gone. He tells Bobo he is the heart of the team, possessing a sort of magic that no spell or suit of rags can produce. Khalid remembers when Kent told him that magic will always be in his grasp, even when he's just plain old Khalid Nasor, and through Bobo he saw what he meant. Bobo says nothing to Khalid's words as the man leaves, but the chimp hugs him, telling Khalid that while he is Dr. Fate now, he needs to know it's okay to just be a child sometimes and ask for help, and if he ever needs a sword-wielding simian detective by his side, all he needs to do is ask. Finishing up his letter, Khalid tells Kent that they would all be there right now if he asked them to, staring down the end times without fear, but as Arion and Merlin ready to assault the Tower of Fate, Khalid stands alone, knowing that last stands happen at the end of stories, and while it looks like they have run out of pages to tell more, this is magic, and as he finishes his last words on the paper, he is infused with the knowledge that this is just the beginning.